We're less than a week away from the start of NBA free agency, and Gary Trent Jr.'s future is still completely up in the air, but some recent NBA news gives us a hint at what his next contract should actually look like. In today's video, we're going to break it all down. Let's get into it. There are a variety of different ways the Toronto Raptors can approach this week here. The NBA draft is here, NBA free agency is pretty much here as well, and the Raptors could be a team that looks for a full-blown rebuild. They could look to be a team that wants to tinker a little bit and retool. They could be a team that kind of wants to reinvest and try and be good again. And there's a lot of different ways in which Gary Trent Jr. can fit into that as long as the price is right on his next contract. But the conversations around what that next contract was actually going to look like have been a bit scattered. Nobody really knows what the valuation is going to be for Trent. But thankfully, a recent piece of NBA news actually does give us the information we need to quantify what Gary Trent Jr.'s contract should be. And it's actually Sacramento Kings shooting guard Malik Monk who has really set the market for this one with his recent contract extension. And I'll explain why over the course of today's video right here on Amateur Hour Sports 2, the second channel in the Amateur Hour Production Network, where we go through additional Toronto Raptors content in videos just like this. So please make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more. And also, you can make sure you drop a like on this video if you enjoy along the way. So here's a contract that Malik Monk just got with the Sacramento Kings. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN reported it was a 4-year extension worth $78 million, which also included a player option. So Malik Monk, I think if he had not been injured near the end of the season, he would have won the 6th Man of the Year award. As it was, he finished as the runner-up for the award, and he put on a pretty good season. It seems like Sacramento is a good destination for him to really do his thing and express himself. It seems like it's a really good match. So Malik Monk perhaps prioritize staying with Sacramento at a pretty good amount of money still, rather than going to chase the bag elsewhere. But Malik Monk as a shooting guard, similar age to Gary Trent, we can see some comparisons statistically here. Malik Monk, 44% from the field, 35% from three, 15 points per game. Gary Trent, 43% from the field, 39% from three, and just about 14 points per game, or just under, for Gary Trent Jr. So why this $78 million figure is important is when you want to assess Gary Trent and you want to assess the market for shooting guards, as Gary Trent potentially is about to go into free agency if there's no extension forthcoming offered up by the Raptors. $78 million per year is still a decently pretty penny here, but when we were discussing Trent, I was kind of worried about the contract getting into the $20+ million per year range. But if Malik Monk isn't getting that, then I'm sorry, Gary Trent Jr. should not be getting that. If the conversation starts to creep into the $20 million range, the Raptors are probably going to have to pass here. But it will depend what Gary Trent is looking for. Because when you look at the contract he's just been on, made $18.5 million this year, 17.2 the year before, 16.2 the year before that. It was it was a short-term contract here for Trent when he signed this extension with the Raptors. And the goal from Trent when signing this short-term contract, I'm sure what he had in mind was play these 2 years, develop, earn a bigger payday, sign a long-term contract for this season. Didn't work out that way. And Trent hasn't really developed in his time with the Raptors. If anything, you could say he's regressed. So that additional payday didn't happen. I think this player option was a more so bet on yourself sort of contract to get the big one this summer. But it was just underwhelming once again for Trent. And when you consider where he was when he got traded to the Raptors at the 2021 trade deadline, and you look at him now, can you really say anything has seen a developmental step from Gary Trent? Like, sure, he shot the ball 39% from three this season. There's a lot to like about Trent in that respect. He was the best shooter in the NBA on wide open threes. I think he was at 52%, but he was 27% on any other three-pointer that he took. His rim finishing is atrocious. His transition finishing is atrocious. Like atrocious numbers there. He's still not a plus defender. It's just kind of frustrating how Trent has never taken on those next steps for the team. So if Trent is looking for a pay raise here, I think he's got another thing coming here because I don't think the Raptors are going to be the team to supply that. So it will depend if another team is willing to do that. Realistically, if Malik Monk is getting $78 million over 4 years, Trent, I mean, what would you want to pay him? Probably, top of my head, I'm thinking $51 million over 3 years, $17 million per season. That seems decent for Trent, but it will all depend on what he feels as though his valuation is as a player. And that's where some conversations are going to have to take place as to the future of the Raptors and what they're planning here. I think Trent can be an important player for the team. And honestly, I think he's an underrated portion of what the team brings. I'm not a big fan of Trent as a player, but I think he's underrated in the sense that, we talk about this young core for the Raptors. We talk about Manuel Quickley. We talk about Scotty Barnes, of course, RJ Barrett, of course, maybe even a little bit Grady Dick. But Gary Trent's still only 25 years old. He was born in the same year as Emmanuel Quickley. Like, you could reasonably suggest that Gary Trent is also, or could also be, a part of this young core, but just doesn't really feel that way. The Raptors very much need shooting. Gary Trent provides that, but for the price he might be looking for, I don't know if the Raptors are really going to miss him if he's in that $20 million per year range. So it will depend. If there's a team out there that has the money to spend, really needs shooting, and is a team that can start to actually generate a lot more open looks. Because clearly he can knock down threes when he's open. It's when he's not open, he's horrendous. But when he's wide open, he knocks him down. So if a team figures that they're going to be able to create those looks for him, maybe they feel as though going into the $20 million per year range is worth it to get a guy like Trent. For the Raptors, I'm just not so sure if that's the case for the player. Free agency coming up, you want to make room potentially for guys coming in, though that's never really been the best endeavor for the Raptors. Hey, look, OG Anunoby might be heading towards free agency after that crazy Mikal Bridges trade, so who knows what's going to transpire there. But for the Raptors, $20 million seems like a lot for Trent. At least if it's that, it's retaining the asset, it's a tradable contract, and probably just that. When it comes to Trent's valuation, thinking about near the trade deadline this year, what could the Raptors actually have gotten for Trent? Would a team really have given up a first-round pick to get Gary Trent? I'm honestly not so sure. So if he does sign for 18 to $20 million, it's a tradable contract to stack on salaries, but probably nothing much more. And that might be one of the only reasons why they choose to keep him. So difficult situation for Trent. He does like Toronto. I honestly think it's around 50-50 on whether or not he stays. But we'll monitor it all in the Amateur Production Network, particularly on the main channel, Amateur Sports. Check out this channel here for more Raptors content. Check out this channel over here for the best stream clips and highlights from this channel over here. Subscribe to the channel you're currently watching, Amateur Sports 2, and check out this other piece of content you may enjoy in the Raptors universe. I will see you again next time for another video right here on Amateur Sports 2.